Hey y'all, I'm Jasmine and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about interview prep. So one of you guys recommended me talking about pharmacy school interviews, but today I'm going to be talking about the method that I went through for pharmacy school interviews. So if you guys are interested, make sure you keep watching. Also, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to know more about me, my lifestyle, and pharmacy, and to get a dose of Jasmine. Thanks for watching, y'all. Okay, so first things first, the format of interview for pharmacy school that I used or that I encountered was called a multiple mini interview. And I actually Googled it so that I could give you guys a specific definition. But a multiple mini interview, also called MMI interview, is an interview format that utilizes many short independent assessments, typically in a timed circuit, to obtain an aggregate score of each candidate's soft skills. So ultimately, for me, in my own words, a multiple mini interview is where you're presented with multiple different scenarios and you have to answer these scenarios based on what you think is best. And it's also in a timed fashion, so you only have a specific amount of time to read the prompt and to respond effectively before you have to move into another interview. And in my case, the interviews were held in different rooms within one building. So the first thing I would say to do to prepare for a multiple mini interview is to practice as much as you possibly can. So I had the opportunity to practice with pharmacy students before I actually interviewed, and it was through like a fundraiser opportunity where students could go in and practice a multiple mini interview. And I think that was the key thing that helped me actually prepare and get ready for my interview. But if you don't have the option to prepare by working with pharmacy students, then you're ultimately able to go online, Google prompts for multiple mini interviews or Google interview prompts, and you're able to practice those with the people around you and do it multiple times so that you're easily able to articulate your thoughts, so that when you're in the interview, you're not scrounging around and trying to find the correct words because you've already practiced and you already know what to say. So the next key thing about interview prep is to know why they're asking you certain questions. So for example, one interview question might be about how you would effectively handle a certain situation or how you would tackle actually doing a project. And the purpose is not for you to explicitly get right how to accomplish a task or explicitly state how you would go about step by step actually utilizing different tools to get to a certain endpoint. So the goal is not for you to answer the question correctly. The goal is for you to analyze the purpose of the question, and once you know the purpose of the question, highlighting the characteristics that you have as an applicant that speak to your story and why you will be a great fit for the job. So that was a mouthful, but ultimately the idea is to analyze, why are they asking me this question? If the purpose of the question is specifically about teamwork, let's say, the question is not asking you exactly what the prompt says, but it's asking what characteristics do you have as a person pursuing this opportunity that specifically fit in that will make you a great member of a team. And this will make more sense when I go through an example at the end. So the next thing that I wanted to highlight for interview prep is you need to know exactly every single thing that you put on your CV or your curriculum vitae, your resume, or in your personal statement for your application, because they're going to ask you questions that specifically relate to all of your experiences. So if you have something listed on your CV that you can't talk about effectively, you should probably take it off, because they're going to ask you questions that pertain to your experiences, and you should be able to roll off your tongue what these experiences were and how they added to your development as a candidate for whatever position you're pursuing. With that, I will say that everything on your CV, your resume, everything that you add to your application should be a part of your story. So ultimately, when you're going on an interview, the purpose is to tell your story, tell how you got to the place where you are right now, what things or events have molded and shaped you into becoming who you are today, and how the characteristics that you possess will be a good fit for the school or the company that you're interested in working for or interested in being accepted to. So the overall goal is to make sure that you can tell your story, and when you're telling your story, make sure how it will add benefit to whatever organization you're applying to. So going along with that, the next thing that you should consider is always be authentically you. Don't use words you wouldn't normally use, because it can come off as being very awkward, like you're very uncomfortable. And in interviews, you're going to be nervous. So try to be yourself, try to be authentic, try to say things that specifically speak to you as a person, and don't try to just recite what you heard on YouTube while you've been practicing or what you read on the internet, because it can come off clearly as being kind of cheesy and not really being authentically you. So always be yourself during an interview. So the next steps are probably going to be trivial and everyone has heard these things, but it's also very important. So the first thing is you want to arrive early, if not on time, and make sure that you're prepared when you get there. So have all the things that you need. I often carry like a little binder because it just makes you look professional, and I have like my CV in there or my resume, and I also have business cards, so I'm able to leave those with the interviewers. But make sure you arrive early and make sure you arrive prepared. The next thing is you want to make sure that you look the part. So for pharmacy school interviews, it is very professional. So business professional attire is a suit. So I wore a black skirt suit. You don't have to wear a skirt, you can wear pants if you want to, but make sure that you fit into the mold of the company. If you're applying for a company where the environment is a little bit more relaxed, I would still say dress professionally, but also be aware that a suit might make you look a little bit out of place. You can wear a suit but wear a fun shirt underneath, something that makes you not only appear prepared but also makes you look like you fit into the culture of the company or the university. The next thing is, I am obviously a black girl, so hair is important to me. It can be important to you, maybe not important to you, but I would say try to wear your hair in a manner that is suiting for you. So if you have natural hair, you do not have to straighten your hair, as long as you come into the environment where you feel comfortable and you are your best self. So make sure your hair and your attire is great when you arrive early and you bring all the materials that you need because you are prepared. The next thing I would say is don't change your routine. So if you eat breakfast every morning, eat breakfast. If you don't eat breakfast, don't eat breakfast. But don't drastically change your routine by not drinking coffee or by doing something that would completely change your mood or alter your normal routine. Because if you change something, it can ultimately impact how you present yourself when you arrive for your interview. So try to stay with your normal routine just to make sure that you're prepared and actively ready to give your best self when you answer these questions. Okay, so as I said before, practice is really important, and practice is key when preparing for an interview, especially for professional school, for multiple mini interviews. Practice is the only way you're going to feel comfortable making sure that you know how to effectively answer questions and also be able to analyze the purpose of the question. So we're going to go through an example that I found online. So all you have to do is Google multiple mini interview questions, and there are tons of websites that have options for you to look at these multiple mini interview questions and practice, because it tells you the way that you should answer the question. So for example, it tells you that you have 2 minutes to read the prompt and formulate your answer, and then you have 8 minutes to effectively answer the question. So we're going to go through an example. So for this example, the prompt says read and consider for 2 minutes. So discuss one of your pastimes outside of school and how the skills you have acquired from this activity will help you in your career. And it says your response, speak for 8 minutes. So in this situation, you have to, number one, determine what's the purpose of the question, why are they asking me this question, and what characteristics do I possess that will effectively add to the overall answer to this question. So ultimately, the first thing that they are trying to consider is making sure that you are a well-rounded candidate. So it's important that you're smart. It's important that you have the capability to excel. But if you're in the interview process, that means they know that you can pass exams. They have seen your transcript. They know that your grades speak for themselves. So they want to make sure that you are a well-rounded applicant, because ultimately you have to be well-rounded and you have to be a great person to be a good practitioner or a good provider, a good pharmacist. So the purpose of this question is to make sure that you're a well-rounded person. The purpose is also to make sure that you do things outside of school so that you have an escape. You're able to effectively do things that bring you joy outside of school and beyond bringing you joy. The purpose is not to answer questions that are specifically related to your profession. Although it says to highlight different things and how these help you in your career, the purpose is to extract things and show how these skills that you've learned in your outside life and your pastime are directly translatable to pharmacy school. It doesn't mean that your pastime consists of Googling medications. No, your pastime can be anything. If you enjoy hiking, okay, your pastime can be hiking. What characteristics make you great at hiking? You enjoy outdoors. You have a resilient personality, you're able to continue to keep going although things get difficult. That is key in pharmacy school. So although hiking and pharmacy are not directly related, you can extract things that are directly translatable to you just based on your own past times with this question. So hopefully you guys understand that the purpose is to make sure that you're well-rounded and to make sure that you're able to create connections and see that the skills that you learn in your outside life are directly translatable to whatever degree you're pursuing. So I also wanted to mention that multiple mini interviews are not always scenario based. You can enter a situation where one of the questions is just about who you are or why you're pursuing this career. So it is still important to practice some traditional questions. So practicing, why do you want to do this? Who are you as a person? Can you explain your background to me? All these things are still key that you should still continue to practice despite being in a multiple mini interview. And I also wanted to add, there are some key YouTube videos online that can tell you how to answer questions like tell me a little bit about yourself, because the overall goal is not to tell who you are from birth until now. The purpose is to make sure that the experiences you highlight when telling who you are as a person are directly related to the position you're applying for. So I know that we've gone through an example and I hope that it was helpful. I'm going to leave a link down below of some interview practice questions that I found online that will be really helpful for you to practice before your multiple mini interview. But thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope today's video was helpful. I hope today's video gives you some motivation to practice your multiple mini interview or to practice in general for how to prepare for an interview. So thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to know more about me, my lifestyle, and pharmacy, and to get a dose of Jasmine. Make sure y'all click on another video. It's going to be popping up really soon. Thanks for watching, y'all.